What's going on, guys? Just wanted to do a quick video on this swaging kit for the APP, my experiences with it. So it comes with two dies. You got a decap and a flaring die, and then your actual swaging die. They say for 22 caliber you have to use this specific decapping die to put a flare on the case mouth, so this swage rod can enter the case. And I think that's dumb, because if your brass cases aren't trimmed all to the same length, you're going to have all kinds of different flare, for one. So you're going to resize and trim before you do this in order to get the same amount of flare, and at that point you're already decapped. So I didn't use this decap and flare die, and they say not to do that for whatever reason, but I haven't had any issues with it. So there's that. And then the swaging die, this is where it gets a little interesting, because here's your swaging punch. This is the 30 caliber one, and basically all it is the bottom die holds this punch. See if we can get it to focus. Maybe not. The bottom die holds this punch, and if you can see, why won't it focus? Best I can do. It's got a taper on it. So you adjust your rod and your top die to push the case down onto this bottom punch, and then if you back this rod out, it doesn't go down onto the swaging rod as far, so you don't get as much swage. You can adjust it a little bit, you know, if you want your primers a little bit tight, like I like them. I don't want to loosen primer pockets more than I need to, because they loosen up anyways as you shoot. So yeah, I don't see the point in really cranking them down there. So the directions tell you to screw that rod down and then cam the press over with the shell in it, just until the press hits the stops, which are like that. How this is here, let me see if I can get a good picture of it right here. When it hits the stops here, that's when you stop threading this die out. That's backwards from how I would have done it. I would screw that rod in until I felt it slide onto the swaging arm, and then screw it in little by little, and then try to seat a primer and find where the happy medium is, where you get your right tension on your primer, how loose or tight you want it. Because when you back it down all the way until it hits the stops, and then you go to swage a primer pocket, that primer is just, I think they kind of fall right in. It's way too deep. So start with your rod out and then go in little by little, so you don't waste a bunch of cases. Yeah, other than that, I'll kind of get resituated here and show you how this thing looks in the press and how it works. Alright, so yeah, your swaging rod goes up in here in the top, then in the bottom you got this doodad that you have to, well, I used a wrench to put it in there because that's what they tell you to do, otherwise it'll back out. But basically you just pop your shell holder on there, and then put your rod in, you put your shell holder on, and then you're good to go. Yeah, let me turn my case feeder on, and we'll get some going and show you what's up. Alright, so basically, bring it up here, scoot your case over, and then that rod will go into that case, and then push the case head down over that swaging rod, and it'll stop when you hit your stops on the press. Like I said, I didn't flare these case necks because I didn't think it was necessary. So when you're going down on your press, you just want to go slow, just to make sure it's centered. You'll get to the bottom, and then you'll push down until it cams over, and then I'll try to show you this guy right now. Bear with me for a second. This thing will not focus. There we go. So you can see that this case did have a crimped primer pocket, but it's swaged out enough material to where a primer will go in. So what I did to set this up was just grab my hand primer and just, you know, do it by feel, just like we do any other time. Yeah, like I said, sometimes you'll get a case kind of off-centered and it'll hit, and you just kind of fiddle with it and it'll find its home. You'll feel some primer pockets are harder to swage than others. Some of them you can tell don't need to be swaged because the primer pockets aren't crimped. But I'm not going as fast as I can, like I said, so I don't destroy my case mounts because these are already trimmed, chamfered, and deburred. So, like, see right there, I kind of had to bounce it, and then it found its way home. That's that. Throw some more cases in. Oop, drop on the floor. But I picked this up on sale for like $36, I think, from Titan Reloading. I mean, I think it's worth it. If anybody's ever used the RCBS primer pocket swager, like on a case prep center or something, it does a good job, but it's just a little time consuming. And when you have 1,500 223 cases like I do, I would rather do it this way than sit there 1,500 times and just do that extra step on the case prep center. It'll save you a lot of time, and it does a pretty good job. Like I said, you'll get the occasional case that it won't be dead center, and then you'll catch it with that. And I haven't crushed a case mouth yet, but I mean, I can definitely see it happening. Yeah, that's just my opinion. I don't use the flaring part, the flaring decapping die, because your case mouth flare is going to be all over the place if you don't trim your cases and get them uniform first. So I resize and then trim and chamfer and deburr, and then that way you can at least get a uniform flare. But like I'm showing you now, you don't really need that flare as long as you're not sitting there trying to hammer them out as fast as you can. So yeah, I mean, it's doing a pretty good job. Occasionally you'll have a little hiccup here or there. Getting 223 cases to feed on this press and get it dialed in with the slider is kind of tricky, so take your time doing that, and it'll save yourself a lot of headache. But yeah, does a really good job. Let me find one of these cases here, and then I'll prime one by hand just to show you that it actually is swaging them. Alright, so I just picked up 5 random cases out of my bin of completed cartridges. And these are Lake City, so they are definitely crimped, and those go in with just a little bit, I mean, just what I'm used to on like pistol brass and stuff like that. I mean, So these are all swaged properly. Probably not in focus, but yeah, I mean, take your time, get it dialed in, and make sure you're not swaging too much material out of there, because like I said, some of the first things to go on your brass, I mean, you can anneal it all you want, but when your primer pockets are shot, they're shot, and your brass is done. So do as little damage to your brass as possible on the crimp, and use it as long as you can, I guess. So, alright, just wanted to do a quick little video on the primer swager. I hope you guys are all having a great weekend. I got a 300 blackout video where I'm shooting that cast lead RCBS bullet. I have to edit still. Not sure when I'm going to get around to doing that. Been crazy busy. And then West Covina Dodge sent me a case trimmer, the world's cheapest trimmer. That thing's badass. I got it hooked up to my drill, and I'm going to do a video on that as soon as I can. I got a 4-day weekend coming up for Thanksgiving, so I'll probably do it over the weekend. But, alright. Thanks for watching. Take care.